Yeah, we'll talk about vocals. What do I like to do to overcome writer's block? For me, um, it depends. Some weeks I'll just push through it. Some weeks I will I'll just stop writing entirely. I'll produce, I'll watch TV, I'll read, I'll do anything other than write, I guess. Yeah, definitely go for producer for starting out. I just got all plugins because it's been it's been almost a decade, and I really love the software. There's some there's some like key nice shit things. Yeah, this is Audacity class. Sorry to anyone who expected FL Studio. Um, get me in there, coach. Gross Suite in particular is great. Adobe Audition. Yeah, the reason that we're doing this class is because there are two individuals in this community who use Audacity for insane things, such as making a 2.5 hour Broadway play. Um, awesome.
Um, Actually, it's a musical, not a play.
Okay, all right. Who let you in here? Logic is a great rapper, great albums until like Confessions or something, and then he's back. Joiner dog shit. Joiner Joiner had like Ross Capianelli, and then everyone thought he was going to be the greatest rapper of all time, and then it's just been whack ever since. No, Logic is great. Um, I just started on FL, so I'm sticking with FL. But again, like any DAW will do anything you want generally. Um, there's like differences in the way. I think the one big exception is something like Reason, where Reason's entire workflow is like very different to everything else. But like between FL, Logic, and Ableton, you can basically do everything you want to do. Um, Pro Tools is another exception where I wouldn't produce in Pro Tools, but it's a great it's a great recording slash mixing mastering tool. You know, Logic isn't that expensive. Logic is actually the cheapest DAW, if I'm being honest. And if you want to like test Logic, get GarageBand, and if you like GarageBand, buy Logic. That's something that Apple does nice, right? You use iMovie, you like iMovie, then you get um, Final Cut. You like GarageBand, you like it, you get Logic Pro. Yeah, yeah. Reason to be like press tab to rotate the rack. Yeah, it's fucking Reason's crazy, dude. But I will say Reason has a lot of parallels to like the real world, right? Like it it tries to emulate how a real rack setup would be in a studio, but um, it's just kind of confusing. Anything by Avid is a Betamax existence. Yeah, Reaper is great. Yeah, Reaper's fine. Reaper also, if you're trying to save money, is technically completely free, but you can support the developers by paying the $60. So, and I think Reaper is cross-platform too. I think there's a Linux version of Reaper. Stromae produced some reason. Yeah, I mean it's insane. When will I do the FL Studio speed run? Oh God. Um, how do they? Yeah, so stems. Yeah, stems. Basically, stems are, well, if you want to get pedantic, it's not really what they are, but stems are like bouncing all the pianos into an audio file, all the drums and all the, everything into audio files, and then throwing those back in. Um, there are other ways to do it. There's like new plugins and software. Me and JPEX were looking at something called Audio Movers. Um, there's, you know, there's alternatives, but the easiest way, regardless of DAW, regardless of setup, is stems. Yeah, definitely. Like knowing how to bounce your stems, knowing how to mix stems is going to be fundamental in collaboration, especially in a setting like this. I mean, Alphonse, do you want to come up here? I feel like, oh yeah, you're doing the sound design course, aren't you? Yeah, yeah. So if you like what I'm doing today, um, Alphonse and P might be doing a sound design course in the future. Yeah, the recording's gonna be uploaded for later viewing. Tanto. Oh, I've talked to Tanto a bunch. He's pretty cool. What? Yeah. So your test is gonna be making a 10 song album within a week, and I'll be taking away your music role if you cannot do that. So yeah. I think shit. What was it called? There is something I remember P, but 15-second you can kazoo. Yeah, 10 songs in a week. That's a low bar you gotta hit. Mm. Vital's also goaded. Vital's goaded when the fucking GUI works. And as long as that GUI works, it's great. Best PL plugins? What do you mean PL? Oh, FL plugins? We'll go over them. For me, I really love Reverb. I really love Parametric EQ. Um, the Cora is a good one. Harmer. I mean, pretty much everything in FL is pretty good, but the ones I really use are going to be the reverbs, the parametric EQ, and row speed. To be honest, Flex. Yeah, I've heard Flex is great, but I haven't really fucked around with it. One song that lasts 6 months. Pump those numbers up, my guy. All you gotta do is kick on 1-3 snare and 2-4. Easy peasy. Well, let's get it started. Is everyone ready? Can we? Everyone set? Everyone open FL? All right, parrot. We'll wait a few more minutes. Oh shit, you're right. So today we kind of got three main things we'll be going over. We'll talk about, FL fundamentals, and we'll talk a bit about recording and like hardware shit. Um, and then we'll go through some vocal tips as far as recording, and then some of you guys send in some mixes you want done. So we'll do some mix master tutorials, a broad mix master tutorial, um, pretty loose at the end. Pretty ambitious in 1 hour. Yeah, that's why I said it might be more than an hour, but we'll see. To be honest, like getting getting the up and up on FL shouldn't take too long, I guess. I was approaching it more from a vocalist side, but you know. Well, we'll cook. Surely. Let me get this shit out of here. Ooh, Scuffathon behind the scenes. True. Scuffathon 2. Yeah, y'all don't know it yet, but this is the start of the Scuffathon 2. And you cannot leave until you're done. I've kept you all hostage. No, it's only me. It's only me in here for 48 hours. Am I? No, I'm nowhere close. Um, I think I made in my life. I think I made maybe $400, which is not livable. But I mean, t- so I've been really bad about my money. Um, somebody offered me a couple thousand at some point to like produce their entire album, and I was like, "Nah, man, you're my friend. I'm gonna do it as a favor." And I was like, "Yeah, I really believe in the art, man. Let's be a real artist." And look where I'm at now. How much have I spent on music? Um, Honestly, like 1,500, maybe 2K. But like over like 10 years, you know? That's whatever. Yeah, like I got a guitar, I play the piano, I did percussion in band. No, the money from the HRK album on Bandcamp will go to all right, come on, JPEGs. It goes to HRK like funds. I do. I gotta turn on my piano and there's shit sitting on it. No, stuff like paying for the DistroKid, any other funds that'll come up in doing HRQ projects. Um, I will say I will be taking on a mix master commission here soon, and I think this year I'll be a bit more better about the money. But like all this is for fun, right? I'm not gonna charge. I'm never gonna charge to like do anything for a HROC project or HRE project in general. Um, and I also don't expect to make money off of it. That's why it's all about charity. Yeah, my dog. I'm gonna start a Fiverr and a Cameo, and all the money I'm just gonna donate to charity. That's what the yeah. Fuck Adobe Suite, dude. Talk. What are you using? What are you using? Adobe for? Toxic Star. All right. Well, now that I know your tricks, it's my love for the cook, man. I can't help it. My dog. I will ban you. I will make you sit through this class, and I'll ban you. For Photoshop Illustrator, I use Affinity. Affinity's dope. Premiere After Effects, you could get away with um, DaVinci. And I'm not really sure what Audition does, but just pirate, to be honest. Um, are we ready? I think we're ready to start. Just if you're on a Mac, hold Command and then drag. If you're on a Windows, Control and drag. Or if you Shift or Control Shift. Oh my God, what am I saying? Yeah. Just record test. Problem, my dog. All right, so FL Studio, well, I'll say pretty simple. Sorry, my thing is really zoomed in. Let me make this bigger for your guys' sake. Um, Scaling, where are you? Sure. Yes. I don't think that did anything. Did that make it any better, guys? I think that just made it smaller, if anything. Jesus Christ. Oh, I see. I believe in UFL. Holy shit. We did it. It looks like shit, but we did it. What Mac? I got a M2 Mac Mini Pro. All right. So when you open FL Studio, this is probably what you're going to come up with. Yours is going to look a little different because your theme. But if you do options, theme, you could change your theme here. I just fucked with some of the adjustments. If you want to get it dark like me. Um, so FL has a couple of windows that you should know, right? This is going to be your main playlist area. This is where you're going to drop. It's going to where you drop your patterns. This is where you'll drop your audio files. This is if you're familiar with Ableton. This is also where you can. Well, we'll get back to that. Basically, all your patterns, all your audio, your song will basically live here, right? The second window you should know about is so up here are going to be your window options. These four are the main ones you care about. First one, playlist. Second one is going to be piano roll. Your piano roll is where you're going to write your MIDI. And the MIDI that you're working on currently is going to be it's going to be dictated by this value here. So pattern one, we're going to be writing into pattern one. Oh, okay, hold on. Let's start there. Just do file, new from template, empty. My dog. We good? We open? Um, yeah. So you're gonna write your MIDI notes here, right? You're gonna you're going to write to this pattern up here. So I'm writing a pattern one. I could change this. Pattern two is completely empty. It's a new pattern here. We'll come back to these and go in more depth. Playlist is where your main tracks are gonna live. Piano roll is where you're gonna edit your MIDI specifically. And if you press this here, it's a sampler. But if you press the whatever shows up here with the arrow, you can change the instrument. So if I added, for example, if I wanted to add fucking SAR, I could change to SAR, and in the same pattern, I can edit the MIDI for SAR. Any questions? Make sense? So your next thing is going to be your channel rack, and think of your channel rack as every instrument that you have, every audio file, it's just going to show up in this rack, right? Um, this rack has two purposes, uh, but to be honest, because of some newer features in FL Studio, one of those purposes is no longer that useful. Um, Basically, as you start adding more and more audio files or instruments, they'll all show up here in one place, so you see like what you're using, right? And you can group them and put them into their own channel racks. The more useful use case for this channel rack is when you're trying to sequence beats, right? So say I'm gonna pull in this kick, I'm gonna pull in a snare, and I'm gonna pull in a let's pull in a hi hat. Um, and you'll see as I move through the patterns, the notes that show up in the channel rack are also going to change, right? So this display is going to be a one-to-one recreation of what's happening in the piano roll. So I'm going to go to pattern two, and what all these buttons are they're beats, right? So if you think of a a bar as, you know, one, two, three, four. A beat is like a subdivision of a bar, or really, you know. I'm thinking in rap terminology, but so I can say one, two, three, four, and then this would be one and two and three, four. Yeah, bars of measure. So what this is saying is I want my kicks to play on the one, the two, the three, and the four, right? Up here, you'll see pattern, you'll see song. Pattern will play whatever pattern you selected on. It'll just loop that, and song will play your entire playlist. So right now we're gonna go to pattern because I just want to hear the pattern too. Um, and then you'll have your play, your stop, your record, and then you'll have your BPM up here. Um, Remember to set this BPM. Yeah, so there's a couple ways you could do a kit. Uh, so the FL Studio way, the most basic way, is this thing called FPC. And FPC has already built-in kits. You know, it has like a bunch of built-in kicks, or you could just empty it and then you could drag to fill your kit on the FPC. And then I can save this. I can save this as its own preset, just so I'll have this kit already pre-mapped. You asked how do I want to pull it off beat. There's a couple ways to do it, right? The easiest way, the best way, oh, not the best way, but the first way is because I placed one, two, three, four here. Notice how it shows up in the piano roll, right? I can take this now. I can hold Alt and then I can move it wherever I want. So instead of going, I can have it off. The other way I could do it is if you go up here, there's this graph editor, and this graph editor will give you a bunch of options that you can change, including the shift. So I can shift this a bunch, and notice how I add more shift. the notes shift down here. Yeah, yeah. So alt what alt does is it'll break from the grid, right? I think I'm jumping around a bit. Let me let me pull back. Um, the main things you need to know, right? At the top. No, you're good. You're good. At the top here, uh, pattern song mode. Remember to always check that, right? Are you trying to play what's in the playlist? Are you trying to play what's in the patterns? You got your play, you got your stop, you got your record. We'll come back to recording in a sec. You got your BPM. This option is your metronome. Uh, you you Audacity people. If I set a BPM of 114, I set this metronome on. See how convenient that is? See how I didn't have to download something from YouTube saying 114 BPM metronome? What are playlists and patterns? Uh, so playlists, think of playlists like the arrangement of the song. your your patterns are your building blocks, right? They're like maybe MIDI notes, maybe they're an audio file, maybe they're whatever they are. The way you arrange them is makes up your playlist, basically. Yeah, yeah, layers, sort of. I think of tracks more like layers and patterns. Yeah, patterns are like pieces of a layer, if that makes sense. Yeah, there's no like built-in metronome in Audacity. Um, you can make multiple arrangements here, right? You can create arrangements and mess with arrangements if you wanted. Unnecessary, but cool to have. All right. Um, that's all good and well. You will notice this magnet in a couple places. Fucking chirp generator. You'll notice this magnet in a couple places, right? And what this magnet basically does is it'll quantize. It'll make stuff that's off time. Put it'll put it onto whatever time division you give it, right? For example, there's a magnet here in the playlist, right? I can move this pattern, uh, you know, 1/4 of a measure at a time. Yeah, I can move it beat by beat. But if I wanted to only move by bars, I can change the grid by pressing this magnet to bar, and then now it's going to move by bar, right? It's really useful when you have like, say, 4 bars, and you're not trying to move it, you know, one by one, but you just want to slide it over 4 bars, if that makes sense. And then you could do smaller time divisions also. You could do a third of a beat. Um, and then as you zoom in, again, it's control scroll if you're on FL, command scroll if you're on Mac. As you zoom in, you'll see the divisions, right? You got your bars, then you got your beats, and then you got your 30-year beats, and then you got your steps. So your steps by default are going to be 1/4 of a beat, but your steps will depend on what you set your steps to be up here based on your time signature. Too much cookage. All right. Any questions? Any questions so far? What are some BPM ranges? Uh so it depends on what you want to make, right? If you're making like I don't know, something jazzy or soulful or hip hoppy, something Something that's a bit slower, I guess, with a lot of groove. I like to sit between 70 and 90. That's great, right? 70 and 90 is a good BPM for like R&B, soul, hip hop. If you're doing like trappy hip hop, like double time shit, you're looking at like 140 to 160 basically. Again, these ranges aren't gospel. They're not they aren't even that important. Just pick a BPM that you think will sound good. But they're like guidelines, right? If you want to do more housey stuff, maybe like 110 to 130. There's like lists. Um, yeah, it just depends on what kind of music you like, and then just look up what stuff tends to sit at. A great website, a great website is something called TuneBat, and TuneBat will give you the key and BPM for any song. So, say I'm trying to look at, I don't know, a Hamilton song, right? Just because I saw Frogman. I know that Alexander Hamilton is in 132 BPM, and it's in B minor, right? Hamilton songs don't have BPM. Yeah, it just depends on what genre you're doing. Try to find songs you're trying to emulate, and then hit somewhere close. But again, right? If I'm if I'm doing a fast flow on a slower beat on like a 80 beat, I'm technically going at 160 beats per minute, but the beat itself is 80. So really, as a vocalist, you can not even as an instrumentalist, the BPM is is the baseline, but then you could double or quarter or triple whatever, right? It just kind of go with the flow. Uh, Hip hop, yeah, yeah, 70 to 90, 60 to 100, something like that. What does the other magnet do? So this magnet up here, this magnet will, it's like the master grid, but this is specifically for like if I'm recording MIDI in. Like if I played my piano and I was playing all over the place, right? It would record my MIDI in at whatever division I give it here. Usually I like to set it to none because if I play it off time, I'd like to keep it off time, and then I'll fix it on the back end. If that makes sense. Again, you'll see this magnet again in the piano roll. Same idea. Yeah, yeah, that's what this does. You'll see it again here, right? Same idea of grid division, but then you also see this music note here. And if I click this music note, it won't let me go off key, right? So if you right click the music note, you can see I'm set to C sharp minor. It will not let me place a note that is not in C sharp minor. So think of this like your quote unquote quantization for your pitches. Again, same thing. If you want to break out of this, you can hold Alt, and then it'll break. Oh, maybe not. But you could hold Alt, and it'll break. I lied. I lied. I just straight up lied. How the fuck? Oh shit, you're stuck. You're really stuck. That sucks. The other thing, um, the other thing to note is if you have this on, and you're recording MIDI in, it will also not record the stuff that's out of the key. So that's good fun. So just I like to keep this off until I have everything recorded in. Turn that on, and then you can, you know, you can clean up your notes at the end. Um, there's a lot of stuff here. There's so much. I don't know why I thought I could do this in an hour. It's crazy. The real key is to just do everything in the chromatic scale and pretend it's jazz. So, all right. Um, I'm gonna start. Let's like start making a song, right? Oh, wait, no. There's one more piece we didn't talk about. We look. Okay, so we looked at the playlist. This is where I'm gonna arrange my song. This is your piano roll. This is where I'm gonna write my MIDI. This is my channel rack. This is where I can sequence my drums or program my drums. I say drums, but it could be whatever you want, right? Think of this like an old school beat sequencer where it'll just play in order, one by one by one by one. And it'll just also show you everything that you got, everything that you have in the project, and you can turn it on and off. You can change the volume. You can change the panning, and then this thing is going to be very important because this is the mixer track that it's assigned to. So a mixer track, right? Think of this as your final output, right? This is going to show the flow of audio through your it's going to be the flow of audio from I guess the DAW to the outside world, right? Right now, everything is set to zero. Everything is set to the master. And all that means is again, this audio is going to go straight to the master and then it's going to come out of this master, right? Think of everything as signal flow. But that doesn't make sense, right? If I put everything through this one funnel, I can't I can't edit stuff separately. I can't be like, okay, I want my kick to have certain effects. I want my vocals to have certain effects. So obviously you need it to go to different places. So what you could do is you could change the mixer tracks, and now what you're doing is you're sending everything through a different channel, right? Now your kick here. When we play um yeah, it's garbage. Yeah, the mixer's pretty simple. The mixer, as long as you remember to think of it visually, the mixer's very simple. Yeah, so shut up. It's very loud for no reason. You see that the kicks are going through insert 2. You're seeing the snares are going through insert 3. Now it's going through 4. But you'll notice they're all going to end up at the master. And then the master, they're going to go, they're all going to go out through the master, right? In this visualization of, okay, the kick, here's my kick, it's going to go into 2. It's going to go into the master. As it goes through 2, it's going to be affected by whatever you put here. So these slots to the right. Let me bring this closer in. I don't know why. It's a screen. These slots are where you're going to put your effects, right? So if I want to EQ something, if I want to put reverb on something, if I want to affect something, if I want to put a plugin on it, I'm going to put it on a slot, and then the sound is going to work. Yeah, Junpei will. That's all. That's all down the line. As you go, as you go down this slots list, it's going to be affected by those plugins, top to bottom, as it goes down. Right. Here, you have built-in EQ. Um, you don't really use it. Just use a real EQ. Hi, Kersha. Um, you've got your mute solo. So these green buttons, right, is you're turning on that audio, you're turning it off. So now you're not going to hear it kick because we turned the kick off. This thing is going to be your panning. And so if I want the kick to come through my left side, so my kick's going to come through my left, so now it'll come through the right, right? My suggestion is don't fuck with, like, these exist, but I suggest not to fuck with these options. I suggest only mess with your mixer track just to keep things simple. Okay, now I have all my drums coming through separate things, but what if I want to put an effect on all of them? I could, right? I could put an effect. I could put the same effect on three things and use three times the processing power, or I can create something called a bus. And what a bus is it's going to combine audio inputs before it goes on, right? So a couple things about FL that are great. Everything is right clickable, right? If you have, if you're struggling on what you could do, you could right click on something, it'll give you options. The real cool thing about FL is everything is automatable, which we'll get an automation at some point. So, you know, you could automate the pan, you could automate the volume, you could automate the whatever, whatever, whatever. Uh, Here I'm going to rename this kick. I'm going to rename this snare. I'm going to rename this hat. Beautiful. What I want to do is I want to put the same effect on all of these things at once before it goes to the master. And I want to do it in a way that I only use one plugin instead of three. How do I do this? Well, you said that you clicked on these arrows and it did something funky, right? These arrows tell you that where the audio is going to go. So if I want the audio to go to the master directly, you'll see that the thread is connected straight to the master. But I don't want it to go to the master. I want it to go to this thing called the drum bus, right? I want it to go to one audio output where all the drums are going to go to. So from my kick, I'm going to click this, which is going to get rid of my send. It's not going to go to the master anymore. When I play it, you're not going to hear my kick because the audio isn't leaving too. It's going nowhere from this arrow, right? But that begs the question, here in my master, there's an arrow out. Why are we hearing stuff in the master? Well, here, you see that there's an output set, right? The master has an output that you're setting, hence this arrow has somewhere to go. But here, this arrow has nowhere to go. I can send this anywhere I want by clicking the arrow now, right? So if I want kick to go to the drum bus, I'm going to click on the arrow to the drum bus, and bam. Now you'll see when I play kick, you'll see the kick here in the drum bus, right? Similarly, I can push my snare, I can push my hat, everything through this drum bus, and now everything is going through this one audio channel, and I could treat all the drums together. Does that make sense? Cool. There's no specific group tracks in FL. Um, yeah, not really. There's like, you can make it easier on yourself, I guess. You can select all your drums. You can create visual groups, is what I'm trying to say. Oh my god. So I can create a group here, and it's drums. So now I made a group here. And all these are grouped together, but like functionally there's no difference here. They're just visually separated. Does that make sense, Graver? You make your own group tracks, right? I made this track called drums. This is not my group track. It's my boss. Um, so now the question of, okay, we know all this. I know how to drag random samples in. This is your sample library, by the way. It's just a file explorer. You click it and you open folders and you can drag stuff in directly. pretty handy. The search has gotten a lot better now, so now I can look up. Oh god! Now I can look up kick, and it'll show me some kicks that I can, all my kicks that I can go through and choose which one I'm dragging. But how do I add my own voice? How do I record in? Right? There's a couple ways to do it. I will teach you the way that I like to do it the most, and it'll introduce a different way of looking at the DAW, I guess. Right now we have these four separate windows. They're all kind of linked, but they're all kind of like separate, right? The thing that people like most about Ableton and Logic is now built into FL, where the pattern, the playlist will mimic the mixer. What that means is I can right click on a track, I can do track mode, and I can assign it to an instrument track or an audio track. So I can say, okay, I want this track to be set to 31. What this means is any audio that I put here will go through insert 31 on the mixer. Very handy, right? Say I say that the kicks weren't MIDI. Instead, the kicks were a loop. Say I had a loop. Say I had this drum loop, right? I'm gonna make things slower just for. I have these drums. The original way of doing an FL Studio would be when you double click on the audio, you get this panel, and this panel will give you a bunch of options, right? Again, there's so much here. The main things, your volume, your panning. This time stretching is going to be very important down the line. This is your audio file, and then this is your track, right? So now I could set this to 4 or 5, and now it's going through the drums. That's cool. But that's annoying, right? Every time I create a new drum loop, I'm going to have to set it to 5 and make sure it goes through. And also, when I look at this, I don't know what's actually going through my inputs. What I can do now is right click on track. I can do track mode, audio track, 5. And now anything I drop, anything I put in this playlist folder, or sorry, in this track, will be routed to 5 automatically without me going in and changing stuff straight up. Why this matters for us, I guess, now, is this lets us access it lets us access functions of the mixer straight from the playlist. Remember how we talked about there is an output to this mixer, right? It's outputting through my Scarlett interface, output 1, output 2. If I pick a random insert, I can also up here change my input into the track. So I can then input my voice through 8, and it'll go through this effect chain out the end. So if I want to record my vocals, right, I'm now sending my own mic through FL Studio. Does that make sense? Well, that's cool. And then I can hit, you see this button here? It was, as long as that's red, as long as that's red, it means when you hit record, it's going to start recording. So how does this look in practice? Well, the first time you hit record, it's going to give you options. I like to just set it audio notes. I just like to set those on. And then I'm going to hit record. It's going to give me a countdown. And then test, 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 test. And it's going to show up here as the audio file. And I can mute it, unmute it, and we can take we can listen to this back. Test, 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 test. right? That's cool. But every time I record a new thing, it's just gonna keep adding and adding and adding and adding. Um, and it doesn't functionally make sense from the playlist. I'm gonna have to always go back to the mixer and then change my input every time I want to record. Yeah, the VODs can be posted. Um, I think I think Metal is recording, so the VOD will be posted up in the music general at some point. Sorry, the music announcements. The easier way, the way that I like to record, is I will pick. All right, yeah, I'll ping you on easy. The way that I like to do it is I like to set my audio track to whatever insert, doesn't matter, and I will change my input here to input one. Now what will happen is my voice is coming through this track. I know for sure it'll be coming through this track, right? And you can change how I want to listen to it and when is it getting recorded through the process. Again, this is stuff that we'll talk about later. Don't fuck with any of this. If you want to hear yourself, the most important thing is click the middle track and then you could turn off or on if you want to hear yourself while you're recording. All right, bye, Kershaw. So now what's going to happen is when I record something, all right, test, 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 test. It's going to record to this insert. I'm going to record another thing. Test, 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 test. And it'll just keep adding here, routing to what I need it to route to, labeling it correctly, and then as I need stuff or don't need stuff, I can just delete the track or just, you know, mute it, unmute it. This will be super useful once we get into like bigger mixes. But basically, instead of going through all these different, instead of opening channel rack, instead of dragging in something, instead of changing this mixer track and then opening the mixer, and then instead of doing all of that shit, I can just from the playlist drag in something I want. I can assign it to a track, an insert. I can double click here, go straight to my mixer, right? It's a very clean process now. Okay, we talked about all of this. Now let's go through making a song. And in making a song, I guess we'll talk about some important features, right? Oh, I just doxed myself. I just doxed my ass. Cool. Love that. Um, all right. Let's make let's make a very bad beat. Let's just make a beat. Oh, thanks, Frogman. I want to make a piano beat with some bass and a synth and some drums. How are we gonna do this? Well, the first thing is we need a piano. How the fuck do I get a piano? Well, let's start here, right? I know this. I want this to be on piano. I'm going to say track mode, audio, no instrument. Oh, look. This shows me all my plugins that I have installed. Let's look for a piano. Uh, where the fuck is FL keys? Oh, I hit it. No, there it is. FL keys. Ah, there's a piano. Bam. That's cool. I didn't have to open. I didn't have to open my channel rack. I just did it straight from the playlist. Super nice. Now, right click, track mode, instrument track. I'm going to bring in my bass. Bam. Bass. Let's add in our synth, our special secret synth. Track mode, instrument track. Sakura, because I shouted out Sakura back in the day. Sakura. And now I want my drums. Um, let's use FPC. FPC is great, right? Instrument track, FPC. Holy shit, we're here. Uh, Sakura, 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 sick urine. Sakura, Saku, Sakura, Sakura. Oh, Alphonse. Okay, he's gone. Rest in peace. Everybody, hey, nobody hold down. Everybody. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. All right. Um, cool. So I have my shit lined up. Well, I got my stuff set ready, right? I got my FL keys. I got a piano. I got a bass. I got some synth, and I got some drums ready to go. Now what? Well, how do I edit my FL keys? How do I make this make sound? Nothing's happening. What's happening? Well, it's got nothing to play, right? And we know these are instruments. They need MIDI to make sound. So we click here, and we'll lay down a very quick progression in, oh, I don't know, A minor. What's great? 6-1, what is it? 6-4-1-5. Jazz nerds. What what did I just say? So, um, in your scale, right? You can assign a number to every note in your scale. My dog, no shot. So I'm doing 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 12 board blows. Yeah, you can. I'll show you that in a sec. All right, cool. Well, that sounds like shit. Now what? How do I make a chord? I don't know how to make a minor chord. I'm not a music theory nerd. Well, lucky for us, this button here has stamp as a stamp tool. It'll give you the shapes of chords, right? So say I wanted to start with a F minor seventh. Bam. Done. Easy peasy. I got my chord ready to go. And now, look at that. Look at that perfect chord. I did all by myself. Oh, uh, okay. Hold on. Ungroup, please. All right, now I need a D chord. Well, is it a D minor chord? No, but we'll pretend it's a D minor 7 chord. Oh, wait. It fits. Boom. Should it not be a major? I don't. Oh, that sounds like dog shit. Well, worry not. We'll throw a minor ninth. Mm, how do we end this? Let's end this with a nice major seventh. Why not? That's not in the chord. That's not actually in the. Well, I mean, it looks like I am right now, but I'm. Yeah, I used at some point. Yeah, but like this is a very common chord progression, right? This is a 6/4 1/5 progression. This is like a very common progression in jazz. So like I know that it'll work because it's like built to work. You know what I mean? But like the vast majority of the time, I am just hitting like the keys, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty chord. Let me keep that chord. Let me figure out another chord that sounds good after it. You know, but with some inkling of not not always. Some people like to start with the bass. Some people like to start with the drums. It just depends. Yeah, anything goes. Make a chord by just combining every other note in the scale. Yeah, I mean, just as long as it's in the scale, surely it'll sound fine. That's not true, but you know. All right, cool. We got this beautiful chord progression that I made in I don't know, 20 seconds. All right, this is cool, but it sounds a bit robotic. I want to give it a bit of give it a bit of movement. So I can select everything. Oh my god, I can select everything. Control A. And I can do this wrench tool. And this wrench tool will give me it'll give me options to fuck with my MIDI notes basically. Right. So this wrench tool can help me quantize to different patterns. It can help me arpeggiate my notes. It'll help me strum. For now we're going to strum, right? We're going to strum everything a little bit. So because your fingers won't, you know, your fingers won't hit at the correct time, we're going to strum your keys a bit. And now, very subtle, but it sounds a bit better. Cool. I have my keys. That's great. Um, but a piano 4 chord loop a song does not make. So now I want to add some bass. Let's add some bass. How does this sound? Oh, pretty bad. We'll work with it. So what did we do here? We did we did a boom, 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 boom. Let's take that, put it here. Right. Theoretically, that is correct. I don't know what you're talking about, Junpei. It's perfect. Seinfeld theme incoming. I don't feel alive without my train whistle. Yeah, let's add a bit of ba-da-ba. Cool. It's very bad, but it is something, right? It's very easy to fuck up these notes. Um, but you notice this control panel down here. What am I doing with this? Well, If you remember back in the keys, everything sounds pretty soft, right? If I then selected all of these and say I bumped the velocity up, ooh, yikes. Sounds pretty bad. But the velocity is the pressure, basically, how hard you hit the keys, right? Different VSTs handle velocity a bit differently. Generally lower velocity, softer sound, higher velocity, you just get a louder, more intense sound. For a piano, you don't really want that, so lower velocity. But for this bass, I want to accentuate, I want to accentuate the ones on the one, right? So I'm gonna up the velocities, um, for the like root notes, and I can mess with my cool. It's a bit better, right? It doesn't sound so robotic. It sounds, the volumes are a bit different. How can we make this even more human, I guess, right? I can sit here, I can sit here and move my notes one by one, like some sort of peasant. Or I can go up here and I can quantize. It sounds like you're quantizing means you're pulling it on time, but really you can quantize to any template, any groove. I can quantize it with like somebody's playing a machine. Now everything is slightly off time, and it sounds, it sounds a bit more human, I guess. Uh, do I start a project with an idea or do I mess around? It depends. Sometimes I have an idea going in. Sometimes I'll just mess around. It just depends. So quantizing that way is one way. The other thing is up here. We didn't talk about it earlier, but this is a swing knob. And what the swing knob does is it'll add swing. It'll add basically delay to your MIDI notes. This is very easy to overdo. For example, just listen to, let's listen to yeah, here. Let's go to the FEC real quick. Let's add some kicks, just so you know what's happening here. Beautiful, right? I'm gonna add a bunch of swing. That actually didn't do as much as I thought. What is happening? Yeah. Did they change how swing works? I could have sworn. Yeah, this is and. Oh fuck. Basically, the swing knob is another way to add swing into your mix. Uh, you're thinking of you're thinking of side chaining or like ducking your bass, basically. Swing is it's like the measure of how off time you are, basically. You got a lot of swing, you're very off time, sort of. Not off time, but you're you know marginally. Swing mix per plugin, yeah. So if you click on your plugins, the swing mix controls how much it's affected. Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy Civ game we got going. All right. Well, we have some really bad sounding piano. We got some mid bass. How do I then how do I like change the properties of what I'm listening to? Well, I can click, well, since I said we're not using this channel rack, I can click here and open the window, right? Every VSD you're going to have to get used to and learn the methods and blah, 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 blah. But say I don't want a grand piano, I want a Rhodes. We're going to change this to Rhodes, and all of a sudden, oh, we got a Rhodes. Already our piano sounding a lot better. Yeah, the picture that Griever just dropped in there is a pretty pretty great um, reference material. I really thought we were gonna get to like effects and shit today, but that's not happening. Um, all right, cool. So for example, no now Sakura. Well, that doesn't really fit in the beat. We can change the instrument. Oh, let's get a fucking pad. Why not? Well, okay. Well, hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back. Maybe I spoke too quickly. I don't remember what the default is. Here, I'll just do that. Take on me. Take on me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're really cooking. Now we're really cooking with gas. Oh yeah. And then we can get a bit crazy with the drums. All right, I'm feeling lazy. I didn't make those chords. I didn't really do shit on the bass. I just kind of copied the root notes and called it a day. I don't want to make my own drums. Lucky for you, FPC is great. All right, this default drum kick is kind of dog shit. Let's change it. Let's get some overhead drums. you can click here in FBC, or sorry, click here in FBC, and open billions and billions, not billions, hundreds of built-in drum loops. Say we're going for what the hell? What are we going for? We're sure funk. Definitely a funk upbeat groove. That's what we want. Oh, how lovely. And now, ask the storyteller type beat. Don't do me like that, Panda. How dare you? And now to tie it all together, we'll add in the vocals. Ah, beautiful. Oh shit, y'all know the lyrics already. Well, here's the issue. I don't think that was in key. How do I fix it? I don't have autotune. I'm broke. I don't know how to pirate shit. Because that'd be bad and immoral. Well, you could use Pitcher, or well, yeah. There's two ways to do it for free in FL, right? First one is the quote unquote Melodyne equivalent, right? So I can double click on my vocal track. I can right click and I can say edit and pitch corrector. And now, oh, it's not bad. Now it opens something called New Tone. And what New Tone does is it's a very simple version of, if you know Melodyne, it's basically a very simple version of Melodyne. But basically, it'll let you change the note of whatever you're listening to. We're in A minor. I'm sort of singing a C, but not really. But the maybe I want to sing an A instead. I can take this. Why can't I drag this? I can take this, and I'll just sing an A instead. Why not? And then I want to sing a little better. Bam. And I want to be a bit more on tune. And then I want to turn that on transition. And guess what? Now, perfectly, on key. Well, that's fine. That's cool. Everyone loved that, surely. But we could do something better, right? We can we can definitely do something better. Let's see. Let's cut some of these notes out. What are we in the song, right? This beautiful song that we've created together. We're doing a 6-4-1. So we're going from a G. Oh my god. Sorry, F sharp. Wait, no? Yeah, okay, okay. G sharp. Wait, what the fuck's happening? What are you selecting, my guy? F. What am I saying? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking. Oh, well, that's cool. Hold on. Well, now, now that we can do that with my voice, we can just we can just make chords, right? I can edit in pitch corrector. I can edit in pitch corrector, surely, and it'll open. Yes, it will open. Holy shit. Um, and let's sing the third. Let's sing. Why can't I? There you go. You know, fuck it. We'll sing the fifth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we've cooked. Now we really. I think that's right. I don't remember what I started on. And then, and then, the world was not ready. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking. Well, that's cool. That's great. I mean, obviously we can't improve on this anymore, but let's drag in some vocals. Alita Moses. I don't know why I said Moses. She clearly great singer, can't sing in anything other than E flat major. Oh yeah. Guess what? I'm loving it. Here's the issue. The issue is it's completely in the wrong key. Um, but this is gonna make a few people mad. This is definitely gonna make a few people mad. A minor is the same thing as C major, surely. So what I can do is I can go from E flat to C major, correct? So E flat, I need to go E flat. So I need to go 1, 2, 3. I need to go 3 down. So how do I pitch this down 3 notes? Well, I can go through the whole pitch correction shit. Or I could use this thing up here called a pitch shift. And I could pitch it down 300 cents. And basically, 100 cents is a semitone or, a note, basically. You also should have noticed that this is an 80 BPM, but the song is an 81 BPM. So how did we get this on time? Well, you'll notice it doesn't quite match up. So what I did was I right-clicked on this time, and I said, make it 4 bars. Right? I made it 4 bars, and then using this button, making sure that's selected, I can stretch it out, and bam, now we're perfectly on time. There's another issue here. This thing is loud as fuck. You can just see it's drowning my ahs, my beautiful ahs. What are we gonna do? Well, I can be the idiot that opens this up and changes the volume knob. Or I can be the Giga Chad who hovers over the audio, uses this little hemisphere, and then drags it down. And now visually I can see how loud or how quiet my volume or my audio is. So nah, that sounds about right. So let's see. Not bad. You know what? Oh yeah, now we've cooked. It's specific to the sample. Well, it's specific to that specific block. So if I cut this up, right? If I cut this up into four, each of these will have its own volume. So I can make this very quiet and this very loud, and it'll only affect that piece, right? I want to accentuate my ahs here, really, and we'll drop them off everywhere else. But for this moment, I want to shine. I want to. Oh yeah, oh yeah, it's a beautiful song. Holy shit, people are dropping like flies. All right, well, this is cool. This is great. I mean, I don't think we could really get any better. But can you put the vocal in chat? Which one? um, all of them. Yeah, no, it's gonna be SoundCloud. It's gonna be SoundCloud release. Don't worry. Or sorry, Spotify release. Don't worry. All right. Well, these drums are kind of getting boring. I want to change up the fourth drum. I can make a new pattern, or I can click up here. I can say make unique, and now I've made a copy of the pattern. So now I can edit that, right? I don't want the snares on this last turnaround. In fact, I don't even want the hats. I just want kicks. Surely. This goes crazy. This is obviously the greatest beat ever made known to mankind. We got vocals, we got a bass, we got some Rhodes, we got some fake strings, we got some drums, we got your oohs, we got your ahs. What more could you need, really? You know what it needs? It needs a spoken word interlude. It needs a monologue at the front. That's what it needs. Um, so let's dig, right? Very deep, powerful monologues. Let me see. Oh yeah. No, that's too long. Um, sure.
You never told the truth for 10 minutes in this house.
Holy shit. Germa. Okay. Germa clips. We'll just go to a. Oh, there's so many. I just want a random Germa clip.
Welcome to this.
All right.
This is Glowblob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
Oh,
That's
it's
a huge.
perfect. All right. There's a secret website I'm not gonna share because it probably is fucking perfect. Um, and I don't want everyone to ruin it. It's the one thing. It's the one thing that I will keep hidden from chat. Yeah, I have YGTL set up on my Windows, which is also goaded. But there's one good YouTube website I found, and I will keep it dearly.
This is Glowblob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
Well, all right, we're almost getting there. Hold on, we gotta bring the tension up. You know what would be really cool? It'd be really cool if like my vocal rose, right? But I'm not gonna re-record. I'm comfy. I'm leaned back in my chair. I've just cooked. Well, there's a couple ways I could do this. So, when I hover over these audio tracks, I could use this hemi circle to, change the volume. I can also use these triangles to fade in and fade out a vocal. So I can fade in this vocal so that
This is Globlob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, but it'd be even crazier if it went between our ears, right? So I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna automate. I'm gonna automate the panning. All right. We've made our first automation clip. It's crazy. Um, I'm just gonna I'm gonna right click in random places to create. Well, actually, this thing is all over the place. I'm just gonna bam bam right click. Boom 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 boom. All right. So what this does is center is your yeah, center is your center of your stereo field, and right left, right. Maybe I have that backwards. Whatever. It's gonna fuck around this audio in a natural fashion, surely. So let's take
This
a
is
listen.
Globlob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
Holy shit, we're almost there. What I need is when it drops, it's got to drop into a little effects. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. Surely, you gotta have the bucket noise. You gotta have the bucket noise in every beat you make. That's just classic cooking. We're putting this bucket. Bam. Let's see. Let's see what we got here.
Friends. And they. What are you doing?
Holy shit. This is going crazy. I don't know. Can we really make it any better? Can we? Can I put? Yeah, I need to put my producer track. You're right. Alright, now stem this baby up. Yeah, this will be your mixing homework. Oh shit! Ask made another one. Somebody make me a producer tag. Okay. Well, this is cool. We're basically done, right? We can just export this. How do I get it out of my fucking DAW? How do I share this to the world? That's really, my next question. Immediate question. How do I share this to the world? Well, I'm gonna do file. I'm gonna do export, and then I can export it as, lossless FLAC file, because that's what we need for sure. But for today's purposes, we'll do an MP3 file. We're just gonna keep the same file name. Surely, it'll be fine. Oh my god. Where the fuck did this go? Oh. I can't shake the feeling. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at this. Yeah, I mean, it'll take a few seconds to for the Spotify stuff to catch up, but then now that it's sitting on my hard drive, it's gonna start making millions
This is
in like a
Globlob
few
and
minutes.
Snaily, and they're
Um,
best friends. And
let's
they.
see. We've made this MP3. Let's see how it sounds.
This is Globlob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. But you know what? It needs to be mixed. What it really needs is a professional touch. Um, so I'm gonna send this off to a mixing engineer, And so obviously what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send them this FLP file that has none of the audio saved or any of the reference files, or maybe he uses Logic so he can't open. So how does someone else open my project? That's where stems come in. So a stem, right, is think of like if I rendered just this piece out entirely by itself, this track would be its own stem, right? And your stems are going to be the collection of all your tracks bounced out as audio files. If I did this as is, all of this shit is going to be by itself. But I don't want that, right? We want to give them a fighting chance. Um, so I am going to the bad. We're just going to say the ooh vocals. No, no, it doesn't. And then I'm going to call this the ah. Oh, hold on. I'm going to assign it here, and I'm going to call it the ah vocals, right? Oops. Bouncing doesn't. Yeah, it depends on the format, just like they said. Monologue. Hold on, intro, and then obviously the most important. Sorry. The most important piece of all of this is the bucket. Hell yeah, bucket. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, hold on. Before we send this out, though, this is what the fuck? What is this audio file name? I don't know. I don't know what this is, but I do know that this is on the monologue track. Luckily for us, I could right click here and then I could say auto name clips, and bam, and now it's named monologue. So I know what this audio file is, and I could do the same here. Right click, auto name clips, bam. I know that these are ah vocals. I don't know what this splice name is. Bam, bam, bam. I know these are the ooh vocals. Bam, bam, bam. All right, bucket. Cool. Now we're set up. Everything has its own. Everything has its own mixer track. Everything's nice and clean and named. Now we can make the stems. How do I make the stems? Well, we can do file export, just like we did. But ooh, higher bit rate usually means higher quality, but you're gonna see diminishing returns after, like, Ooh. So I'm gonna export this as a WAV file. We want all this to be top notch quality. We don't want anybody to miss a single ooh or a ah because of encoding issues. Save. All right. If I just hit start here, it's just gonna save it as one big file. What you want to look at when someone asks you for stems is this button here needs to be checked. The split mixer tracks. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to hit start. And now when I go back to my folder, you can see that all my stems are stemmed out individually by themselves, labeled. So now we've made the stems for our beautiful song. Okay, well, how does it look if someone else... Do I have Ableton? Do I have Ableton Live? Do I have Logic that's working? Probably not. It's fine. Save. Save. Okay, nope, wrong word. Mixing tutorial. Whoa. All right. Now someone sent me their stems.
Oh shit! I
Boom.
made another
Bam.
one.
Holy shit! It's the entire song, just like that. We don't need this one. We don't need this one. And then let's take a listen.
This is Globlob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
Crazy ass beat. This is insane. Surely. Yeah. Jay-Z just texted me actually asking for this beat. And I told him no. I told him my dog's gonna rap his heart out on this. And Jay-Z said, I understand, King.
Oh shit! I made another one.
This is Globlob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
Wait. I think this is wrong.
This is Globlob and Snaily, and they're best friends. And they. What are you doing?
I made another one.
What are you doing?
Oh shit! I made another one.
All right, that's definitely better. All right. Are we good? Should we call it here? Did anybody get anything out of this other than this beautiful song? Hell yeah. Yeah, of course. If you have a direct question for me, just ping me. Next time we'll yeah, that's not happening, Frog. Yeah, please, Metal.